Hi Sagittarius, Sun, Moon and Rising, welcome to your March reading. So first I will get into the astrology a little bit because there's a lot going on this month, and then we will get into your cards. So the planet of the mind and intelligence, also logic and reasoning, is moving into Pisces. That is Mercury moving into Pisces, and then later on it's going to move into Aries around the 19th of the month. So from the 2nd till the 19th we have Mercury in a water sign, which rules our intuition, also compassion and empathy. So we are more drawn to spiritual topics, for example, or we want to take some rest, prioritize recuperation if that's something we need. But if we need to do some very heavy logical work, then this would be a little bit of a confusing time, I'm imagining. Because it's a little bit vague when Pisces and Mercury go together. Like some details might be missed, not on purpose, but by mistake something is not told, and that might be an important piece of the equation. So maybe practicing some patience, or like making sure if everybody's on the same page and things like that would be very useful. Also, communicating from a place of empathy and compassion is a very nice way to use it. And it's a very nice aspect for creativity and intuitive practices too. Also, your imagination is going to be really on a high. So yeah, that's how we can use this basically. Then, so when Mercury moves into Aries on the 19th, that's when we can go forward with full force, because by this point we have enough information, or we have the necessary contacts or enough closure from previous cycles, so that we can begin with completely new ideas with a renewed sense of faith and courage in ourselves. And because it's in a fire sign, that is going to be benefiting you very nicely. So any important communication, documentation, things that you might need to do, 19th onwards would be a better choice than before. But in the previous part of the month, it's good to know as much as you can, do your homework if that's need to be done, or connect with the right people and like-minded people. Make sure everybody's on the same page and so on. So basically the pre-work before you do the actual work, that kind of dynamic going on. Now on the 7th, we have a full moon in Virgo. This will highlight certain things that we have not noticed previously in our health. Or, this can be a time of balancing the spiritual requirements, our emotional needs, with our physical, practical, earthly needs, okay? So taking care of our physical health and also the spiritual health, therefore finding a better balance point and fulfillment. So full moons come with completion and also recognition of something that was previously hidden becoming very clear. So clarity. So your intuition can be bringing in this clarity. Someone you care about can be bringing this in as well. What else? Yes, also full moons can be a pivot point of sorts. Like we recognize something we had not seen. Therefore, we can make a course correction beyond this point. Same day we have Saturn moving into Pisces, and that's a big deal because it's going to be here for 3 years, and it was in Aquarius for the previous 3 years, where we talked about restriction of freedom and what humanity needs, and people banding together to protest against the authority, i.e. Saturn, things like that. And at the same time we also recognize that a lot of people are going through similar things, and therefore we had a feeling of unity amongst one another. So now in Pisces, this can talk about rising spirituality. There can be some restrictions in how spiritual topics are being practiced, or there can be more validation that comes in this area because it's quite vague at this time, for example. So yes, things in your life which have been a little bit vague so far, where it's like take it or leave it. Intuition, yeah, sure, sometimes we practice when it comes through, but otherwise, whatever, put it in the back burner. Things like that are not going to be very possible, or are not going to be very beneficial when Saturn is going to be here. So if you ignore the intuition, for example, or you don't apply the intuition, Saturn is going to find a way to express that it is important, that we should be channeling our creativity as well, or maintaining our emotional and spiritual well-being in general. So because it's a 3 years cycle, a lot of this can be broken down into smaller chunks, and we experience it as it's needed to us personally. Okay, now in the 3rd week we have a lot of aspects going on, and I will not touch them specifically in this video, but I will be posting about them in my community page. So if you're interested, you can subscribe, hit the bell, and you will be notified whenever it is up around this time. One thing I will mention is that on the 16th, we have Venus, the planet of love, beauty, and abundance, also harmony and financial blessings, moving into the sign of Taurus, which is absolutely wonderful. Venus rules Taurus and also Libra, wherever that is. You can see it in the chart. And those areas are going to be highlighted and being blessed and protected as well. So there can be some additional resource that comes in, whether it is material or from an internal perspective. And it brings us a sense of joy and hope for the future as well. So if you're trying to save, for example, on around the 16th and beyond that, you might find better ways of saving or investing, or there can be some extra money that comes your way. You might find some external support as well, which can translate to a more practical solution for you. For example, freeing up some more time or reducing your responsibilities so you can enjoy whatever it is that you do enjoy. There can also be more time for gardening, cooking, nourishing, things like that, which are more important around this time, or you will find that it becomes more important in this period of time. Okay, then on the 20th and 21st, depending on where you live, the sun moves into Aries, and also we have a new moon in Aries. So this one is a brand new beginning here, and it signifies kind of really fresh starts, basically. It is bringing in a lot of hope and courage within ourselves. We have just the fuel that we need to get us going. And yes, for you it is going to be very beneficial because it's a fellow fire sign. It just boosts you up and gets you ready to keep going. One thing I would say keep in mind is Mars will be moving into Cancer on the 25th of the month, and it rules Aries. So Mars is not feeling very strong during Aries season, so that can make you feel a little bit frustrated if things don't go your way. Or it can be that you're in the mood for protection and preservation for something that's important or emotionally close to you, that you might feel quite volatile if something doesn't work out in your way. Okay, so something of that sort. So Mars in Cancer can express itself positively when we're taking care of something, but if it gets angered, then it's not the best place for it to express it. It does not want to be passive, but it can't really be too active either. So yeah, it's a tough line to manage, but it, like with any aspect, it's really a learning curve in the beginning, and then we get used to it towards the end. We learn whatever is needed to learn. So yes, utilizing it positively would be by listening to your heart and your intuition, and kind of dealing with things tactfully, a little bit diplomatically as well. If we're dealing with some authority figures, for example, evaluating what is actually needed in order to preserve. For example, having an argument with someone might not be the best choice if you want to preserve whatever it is that you care about. Meanwhile, in different circumstances, you have to fight in order to protect for what is yours, right? So it's kind of a judgment call, very scenario based. So I'm not going to give a very definitive advice here, but it definitely is playing a role in Aries season. Okay, on the 23rd, Pluto is moving into Aquarius, which is also a big deal. It will be here for 20 years, starting from 2024. But in 2023, we get a little bit of a trailer of what that looks like. So it dips into Aquarius a little bit and then goes back into a Capricorn, gives us a bit of a taste, like a syllabus, kind of tells you what we need to work on, what our triggers are, things like that. So that can be addressed 20 years starting next year. So yes, this is the planet of purging, transformation, and our soul evolution. Okay, it brings up to the surface the shadows of things, the difficulties or unaddressed situations. It also brings up subconscious thought patterns that keep on looping in the background without us even realizing. And because it keeps looping in the backdrop, it's kind of creating our perception of the world. And sometimes it can be self-destructive. We might be caught in a pattern of, for example, I don't feel optimistic about my romantic life, however much I try, I keep attracting the same type of person. That might be a more conscious experience, but in the backdrop there might be a whole other story that is looping and that is attracting those types of people or circumstances. So Pluto coming here helps us understand what exactly those things are. If we don't even know what's happening in the background, how can we fix it? Right? So yes, Pluto will help us recognize that and even fix it. Now in the last week, we have again some aspects going on. I will not get into them. It will be there in my community page. So like I said, if you're interested, you can check it out. So the major theme of the month for you is lunar eclipse with change. Yes. I started the reading with Pisces because it's like Pisces season majorly, and then we move into Aries, right? And in those videos, I said I would not be surprised if I get eclipse cards for just about every zodiac. That did not happen, but very close here. You were part of this huge change that you'll be experiencing, and I think this month is a pivot point for a lot of people. It can even be in a global scale because these are like faraway planets that they have longer cycles, which means they have a longer impact as well. So yes, there is a lot of change happening outside of us, and that leads or is simultaneous to the internal change that is happening. Also, our perspective, like I said, is going to be shifting. We have dark man, dealings or relationship with a man with dark complexion or hair. Second major highlight, we have fire, strong emotion, passionate love or hate. Okay. Yeah, this fire element is really loud and clear, especially towards the end of the month. Then we have cup, which says you should accept valid criticism. Okay. If there is a tendency of passive aggression, for example, then towards the end of the month, that might, like, you might feel called out by someone. That can happen around that time because Mars is just not able to hide it anymore. So if you're like dissatisfied with a certain situation, but you don't want to be very confrontational, but at the same time you need to do something about it, that's how it can like play out. But let's see your tarot card, see how that actually looks. We have the Ace of Swords coming through, which is a very nice breakthrough energy. We have the Hanged One. Yeah. Okay. Then we have the Emperor, which corresponds with the Aries vibe. The Hanged Man is about Pisces, by the way. So I think we're talking about the first half being about gathering new perspectives, taking some time off, pausing and reflecting. Also, you're kind of distancing yourself from a situation. On a negative side, it can be that you're just distancing away from reality itself. But on the flip side, it's about, gathering perspective. You want to appreciate the smaller things that you usually miss. And that's where you can find more clarity as well from that different point of view, right? Then we have Ace of Wands, which is so beautiful. We have 2 cards, which is about aces, and Aries is the first zodiac. So it really looks like a very brand new deal for you guys. Wow, and we have the Magician, which is also card number 1. So 11-11 going on here. Also can talk about gathering more stability. There is a lot of faith in your skills that's coming through. You might be working on your skills. New hobbies and interests could come up here. New communication that comes in, brings in opportunities and excitement for you. What else? The Emperor talks about taking charge, right? So you might be creating these opportunities for yourself. Perhaps you want to do something for you. If you're a writer or something creative that you do, then this month is kind of giving you a lot of inspiration. Even the Mercury in Pisces then plays out in a very favorable way. You might be taking a break from everyday life. Perhaps taking a holiday, going somewhere else, and that brings you a lot of inspiration and perspective. Ace of Wands basically talks about inspiration, being lit, because it's just an inner fire that comes and sparks up your interest in life and in something that you enjoy, basically new ideas, new ventures, and so on. The Magician also can indicate you have a lot of communication going on, important correspondences, and so on, that can correspond with a person that this Dark Man card is talking about. The Emperor relates with authority figures, so it could be an authority figure that's giving you some criticism that you might not enjoy in that moment, but it's kind of like it says, it's valid criticism. Perhaps it's not said in a very nice way, or the perception is different, so sit with it for a moment, kind of try to see what the intention is, because you would know if your authority is not really a very good speaker, because the Ace of Swords can be biting in a way. The intention, though, is not to hurt, okay? Intention is really to upgrade and improve and things like that. I don't see anything malicious going on here in any way. So, yeah, kind of take it on board. It's understandable if it's not really fun. Criticism is never fun, right? But either way, it kind of makes you stronger and it up levels your skills, and the intention of this person, whoever it is quite positive for you. Yeah, just kind of means business, you know, that's what I'm getting here. I think you go like above and beyond in whatever you're delivering. Yeah, I feel like if you do get valid criticism, you're kind of shutting that up by doing a lot more, or like, yeah, completely drastically changing, not drastically changing, but like you're adding in something else that just is so different, or is so skillful that it kind of makes you look like a master. Okay, the Emperor is also stepping into that leadership role yourself. So if that's something you've been applying for example, then, you know, the Emperor shows good promise that you might get it. And also that would be the start of a new role and responsibility, and that kind of sparks up your interest as well. Or yeah, it can be a metaphorical authority position too, that you're taking charge of your life. You might have to pause and think about it a little bit before making an important choice, but you're kind of going with what feels right as your gut instinct and what your passion is telling you at this time. Okay, let's see what else we have. Get back to elemental, which says get back to the basics and appreciate the small little things around you in your life. And we also have your past supports your future with 11. Wow. Okay, so 11 coming through. It indicates that you're coming into alignment in this month, which means that things are kind of smoothing out, and the resistances that you have in your life, certain blocks that might be there, is clearing out as the month progresses. Okay, and it can also be that you've learned a lot from your past, so now you're ready for a fresh new beginning. The Hangman can be kind of taking a break to absorb all the lessons as well. Let's say you're in between jobs, for example, then you're kind of sitting with it and you're understanding what you have learned so far and how that is useful for the future, or how it has changed you and so on. And therefore you're able to express that very clearly whenever you have a new interview, for example, or if you're going for your own business venture or something of that sort, then you learn from your previous experiences, and that kind of boosts you up for the future. Kind of reminds me of the Six of Cups as well, but the same message is being repeated. Also corresponds with Libra, so yeah, there can be some contracts you might be signing, or some promises are being made in this month, which are very exciting, quite fun. Serious, but still for the better, you know. There can be a lot of passion within relationships as well. Yeah. Then we have Photon, and we have Cosmos, which I really love to see this card. It says that you're making use of all of your resources very wisely. Also with the Magician, it's like you have everything you need to make magic happen in your life, and it's like the universe is supporting you along this journey. And like I said, if you need people are there. If you need material gifts and blessings, that's also there. Also, if you work with manifestation or you have not tried yet, then this would be an optimum month to actually try it out. See what fits with you, because you're likely to hit gold on this one in this particular month. And if you have manifested certain things, it's very likely that it's coming true in this month, especially if it's related to career, stability, authority, power, and also skills, connectedness with your cosmos at large, with your soul, any spiritual intentions you might have. It's a very nice month to manifest all of those things. Also, creativity and communication, thought process. Yes, okay. Now, Photon talks about this, basically a light particle, right? It indicates that you yourself are light, you're made of magic, you're made of fire, you are the spark. Yeah, these are the couple messages I'm getting with this card. Also relating with the fire there. It indicates you have a lot of ambition and you're very inspired. You're very courageous to move forward in a very purposeful manner. But before we do that, the objective needs to be very clear, because otherwise we can kind of cause a wildfire, for example, right? If we don't... I gave this exact guidance. Actually, this is said in a different way. But I said this with Mars with Cancer. You're protecting something. That's what Mars wants to do when it's in Cancer. But in certain cases, arguments are necessary. In certain cases, it's absolutely the worst idea, right? And it's very scenario dependent, and the person that you're dealing with, their attitudes and so on. So that's where it comes in, that we need to understand what exactly we are wanting to create, and is this action right now conducive to that particular desired outcome? Kind of the past supports the future kind of logic, right? So listen to that instinct. I would not say intuition for you, it's your instinct, your gut, your fiery element, what brings you that passion. That's going to be a very strong guide for you throughout this month. And the more you stay grounded and do basic things, kind of appreciate the small little things in life, the better and more clear you can be of what is going to be useful and not. So you are more in tune with your instincts and intuition as well. You can be paying some more attention to your lifestyle, or the food you have, the places you visit, the habits you have as well, especially around 7th. So 5, 6, 7, 8 of the month. You could be focusing on that too. Your health as well, making sure your vitality is on point. Also, if you have some health troubles, the Emperor is a really strong card that, you know, there's a brand new beginning. You're fully strong and ready to go. Ready to conquer the world, the cosmos. Okay, so let's see what else we have for Sagittarians, please, month of March. We have 9th house, Virgo, and Venus. Amazing. So yes, there's a lot of blessings coming through in a material sense for sure. And I think return of the health, there is more connection with the divine as well. Some guidance can come through from particular mentors, which is useful. If you want to travel overseas, the Cosmos and the Hangman can also talk about kind of arranging things, looking at something you've not experienced it yet and wanting to go there. You might be putting some effort in that direction as well. But Venus is a very good sign that certain things could work out in your favor in that area. Also relates with visas, connection with people from diverse backgrounds and cultures, religious backdrops as well. Yes, improving lifestyle for sure. And the health, by the way, talks about emotional, mental, and physical. Okay. Also, you're looking at the bigger picture and that objective viewpoint that if I zoom out, does it still make sense? Is it all cohesive? If there's something out of alignment, that's what you're really attacking on. You're kind of making it in alignment for yourself so that everything moves along streamlinedly, right? For example, you want to be an authority, but then you have a disdain for authority, then there is like a direct conflict with the word of authority, right? So that is not in alignment and something needs to be fixed along the way. So I think whatever is happening in this month for you, it's a little bit broad, I know, but whatever it is happening is kind of bringing you to a greater streamlined focus movement, basically. Okay, and this looks like a start of something very, very fresh. Breaking through from previous cycles as well, like I mentioned, brings you greater stability and also peace within. Yes, so that's what I have for you, Sagittarians. Thank you so much for being here. I really hope the reading resonated and that it helps you out. Let me know your thoughts, and if you want a personal reading, you can reach me via Etsy. The link is in the description box in the comment below. I will see you some other time. Until then, take care. Bye.